Hi, my name is Nicholas. Welcome to this week's Hatha practice. A few props that'll be handy for today are just having a soft block nearby, helpful to sit up off of or for padding for the knees and stuff, and then maybe one hard block as well. And if there's anything else you like to have around, then go for it. And for today, I'll invite you to get started in a seated meditation. So find any comfortable seated position. I'm going to sit up off of my block. And it can be cross-legged, butterfly. You can have the legs extended. And if this type of shape doesn't work for you, feel free to swing the legs around, maybe come to a kneeling position, anything that feels comfortable. And then just take a moment to settle into whatever shape you've chosen. Notice the parts of the body that are touching the floor and just give them a rock to settle them in. And then with a gentle press into the floor, start to lengthen the spine here. Lift and stack the head on top. Notice what's happening in the shoulders. Maybe you can find a little softness there, a little more space. And the hands can be wherever they've landed, maybe on the knees or the lap. If it feels okay to close down your eyes, then go for it. Otherwise, find a soft gaze. And as you find your stillness here, start to notice the body. And take a scan from the feet to the head and just see what every part of yourself feels like. Notice your breath gently flowing in and out. And when you feel ready to, gently invite the breath to deepen. With each inhale, inviting a sense of space in the body, especially a sense of lightness. And with each exhale, grounding and softening here. And during this opening meditation, if you notice the mind starting to wander, without judgment, see if you can bring it back to the body and to the breath. If this feels like a good place to stay for you, then you are welcome to for as long as it serves you. And when you feel ready to start to move the body, you can wiggle the fingers and the toes. You can roll the head side to side a few times. And when you're ready, you can flutter open the eyes, extend the legs out in front, maybe give them a little swish or a tap at the backs of the knees. And when you're ready, we'll come back to a seat just for a little while longer, but switch the cross of your legs so that it's the awkward cross and keep things even in the body. And then with the hands to the knees, with an inhale breath, peel the chest open between the shoulders, lift the gaze any amount. And as you exhale, lean back and then round in, chin to chest. Inhale breath, open up, lengthen through the front body. And exhale breath, lean back and round inwards. You can keep flowing the seated cat-cow with your breath at your pace. If you like to practice Ujjayi breath, you might find a gentle engagement through the back of the throat for a soft whisper sound. If your body's asking for anything extra, maybe a turning of the head to one side with each inhale, maybe adding a circling motion through the spine or anything else, make this movement whatever you need it to be. Flow with your breath at your pace. We'll take about 10 more breaths here, but if at any point you need to return to stillness, then go for it. Awesome. And then the next time you inhale, returning to your tall seat, and then release the arms, the shoulders a little bit. You can take the hands down to your sides, and then inhale breath, reach the left arm high. As you exhale, arc over towards the right and find a side body stretch, reaching from that left hip all the way to the left fingertips. Notice the pelvis here, keep it heavy, equally heavy on both sides. And notice if that left shoulder is dipping in at all. See if you can keep a lot of space across the chest. All right, the next time you inhale, come back up. You can reach the left arm up and then lower the left fingertips to the floor. Other side, inhale, right arm lifts and arc over towards the left. Right hip stays heavy, lengthen that whole right hand side. Breathe into the stretch. All right, inhale breath, come on up and release the right fingertips down. And from here, we'll swing the legs around, come and find a tabletop position facing the top of the mat. And setting up the hands roughly underneath the shoulders and the knees roughly underneath the hips. And if the knees need a little extra padding here, feel free to add some. And from your tabletop position, take a deep inhale. And as you exhale, shoot the left hip towards the left, circle the hips back. Inhale breath, hips towards the right as you come back forward. And then exhale, keep going, circling with your breath at your pace. If you come across a sticky spot in the body, feel free to pause there for a breath or two. And as your body gets used to the movement, feel free to add on anything extra that you need here. Last couple this direction. And the next time you inhale, come forward. And with your exhale, switch the direction. So hips towards the right and circle back. And then notice this direction may feel a little different to the first side. So again, you can pause if you need to. You can modify the movement. When you're ready, adding on anything extra that you did on the first side. Last couple rounds. The next time you inhale, come forward to your tabletop position, and then take a moment to reset yourself. It might feel nice to stretch out the wrists here, so you might flip one side, bringing the back of the hand to the floor, and then imagine putting just a little pressure on it, but imagine dragging it forward in space. It might give you a nice stretch for the outside of the wrists. And taking a few breaths on one side, and then you can set up the other. And as you're ready, switching to the second side. All right, releasing this side too. And now switch to your hands so that the fingers are pointing towards your feet, the palms are towards the floor. And then from here, take the weight back, hips towards the heels, any amount, until you start to feel a stretch through the inside of the forearm. And you can keep the stretch exactly as it is, or you could explore bending the elbows a little bit, and you can even let the heel of the hand lift up off the floor. All right, maybe come to a kneeling position, give the wrists a little shake out, and give the shoulders a few circles in each direction. And then when you're ready, tabletop position, and we'll step the left foot forward between the hands. And back knee can stay lowered. If you want to work a little bit more through the legs, feel free to lift it up. When you're ready, come and find your tall spine. If there's anything you need to adjust in the hips here, maybe a wider base if things feel a little wobbly, and then go for it. When you're ready, you can reach both arms forward, palms towards each other. And then the next time you inhale, open up towards the left, reach the left arm back. Exhale back to center. And then right side, inhale. And exhale. With your breath, 2 more each side. All right, hands to the floor and step back to downward facing dog. And take a moment to set yourself, hands pressing into the floor, fingers spread nice and wide. You might rock the hips side to side or pedal the heels, maybe alternate bending the knees. Any movement here that helps you set up the shape. And then mindful of the wrists, make sure that they feel supported enough. And when you're ready, come and find your stillness. Take a moment to notice the shoulders. Can you find a little more room across the shoulder girdle, across the shoulder blades? Can you find a sense of heaviness through the spine? Let the head go if you're holding it in a particular shape. Awesome. And then when you're ready, with an inhale, we'll step the right foot forward between the hands, and you can lower the left knee down, or if you kept it lifted on the first side, then do the same here. And when you're ready, come on up. You can pad the back knee. You can adjust your shape any way that you need to. And when you're ready, we'll reach the arms forward, hands together. Inhale, breath, open to the right. And exhale, back to center. Left side. And we'll do 3 more each. Your breath, your pace. Last one. Awesome. And then bring the hands to the floor. And this time we'll step forward to a forward fold. So keep a generous bend to the knees, maybe so much that the chest stays resting on the thighs. And give the head a nod, yes and no, to release. And then maybe a rock of the hips. You can alternate extending one leg a bit towards straight, giving it a good stretch, and then switching to the second side. If this is a bit much for the low back, feel free to bring a block for under the hands, or you can work from hands to shins, maybe a halfway lift shape. Notice the breath here, and with each inhale, see if you can find a sense of space anywhere in the body. And if you have a bind, you can let that go. And with an inhale breath, come to a halfway lift, lengthen the spine. And with your exhale, fold in. Again, like that, inhale, lengthen, and fold. Last one. Inhale breath, halfway lift, this time pause. Really set the feet into the floor. You can bend the knees as much as you need to make sure that the spine feels long. And then with the help of the hands, perhaps, with a strong belly, inhale breath, come all the way up to stand, and you can reach the arms up to the ceiling as you arrive. Now, if you're a little lightheaded, you can pause here, but either way, soften the shrug muscles. And then when you're ready, you can release the arms down to your sides. And set the feet, whatever distance between the feet feels the most steady for you. And if it's okay to close down the eyes, then go for it. Notice the soles of the feet pressing into the floor. Notice that sense of space across the chest. Notice your breath flowing in and out. You are welcome to keep the eyes closed, but interlace the hands and then reach the arms up towards the ceiling. If this doesn't work for the shoulders for any reason, feel free to hold a block between the hands instead, or maybe use a strap. And then with the feet pressing down to the floor, you may even take the feet a little wider. It might help with balance. And take a deep inhale here, reach tall. As you exhale, arc over towards the right any amount. And then inhale breath, lift back, and then other side. We'll do 3 more each, your range of motion. Inhale, lift, and exhale, side stretch. Last one each side. Awesome. And then inhale through center. As you exhale, swan dive, hinge forward, forward fold. Halfway lift to lengthen. Plant the palms and step to plank pose, top of a push-up. Hands underneath the shoulders, knees underneath the hips. And if you need a more supportive version, feel free to lower the knees to the floor. And feet, if they're tucked under, make them active. Find that strength through the whole back line of the legs. And deep inhale here. And stay for the exhale. Can you breathe a little more space across the chest as you inhale? And as you exhale, lower all the way down to the belly. Untuck the toes here, press them down, and then inhale, cobra pose, lift the heart space, the gaze, and exhale, soften. And with the hands light, inhale, peel open, and exhale, lower. And perhaps hovering the hands, inhale, lift, and lower, hands return. Inhale, press the tabletop, and then tuck the toes, lift the knees, downward facing dog. And from your down dog, inhale, lift the right leg up behind you, and then pause here. See if you can keep the hips as even as possible. So if that right hip is opening towards the right, see if you can close it back down. And right toes can point down. If it helps to point the toes, then go for it. Left leg stays really active here as well, both hands pressing into the floor. Take a deep inhale, lift the right heel a little higher, and then knee towards the chest as you exhale, come forward. Inhale, send the leg back. And knee to chest. One more. Inhale, right leg goes back up. And as you exhale, lower the right knee about halfway up the mat. And then kickstand the right foot towards the right and drop the left heel to the floor. Line up your right hand with the right knee, the left foot. And then inhale, breath, reach the left arm up towards the ceiling. Modified side plank. And you can stay exactly here, work with the breath if that's what serves you. Otherwise, when you're ready, lift the left leg up off the floor, and then exhale, lower it down. Inhale, lift any amount. Exhale, lower, and keep going. Last couple. Last one. With an exhale, lowering that left foot to the floor, and then bring the left hand forward and the right to join it. You might need to take that right knee a little further to the right. Before we move on, if you need to give that right hand a little shake out, it might be ready for it. And then with the hands roughly underneath the shoulders and the left leg extended towards the left, brace here for a moment, and then with an inhale, lift the left leg up any amount. Now notice what's happening in the body. The tendency might be for the body to lean way over. So for here, you might take the right hand to the right or even hover it out towards the right. And then make sure you're still breathing. If the jaw can soften here or the forehead, then go for it. Last 2 deep breaths. All right, lowering that right foot to the floor, and then kind of like child's pose here, you might point that right knee out a little to the right. You can untuck the right toes, and then bring the hips back towards the heels. Now, if it feels comfortable to keep the left leg as it is, the left toes down to the floor, then great. For some of you, it might feel better to lift the toes towards the ceiling, so feel free to explore either version. And then find a sense of rest here if you can. If it helps to bring a prop for the forehead or to add some padding or anything like that, then go for it. Finding that steady breath if it got a little choppy in that last pose. If the mind wandered, bring it back to the body, into the breath. When you feel ready to move from here, you can slowly lift the body back up. We'll walk the hands back towards the top of the mat, and then we'll meet in a three-legged dog with the right leg in the air. A three-legged tabletop is also a good alternative. So as you lift and stack the hip this time, the right knee can stay bent. You can also play with extending it. It might deepen the stretch. And then notice what's happening in the shoulders. See if you can keep both hands evenly pressing to the floor. Notice what the left heel is doing. Maybe it can drop a little. If it helps to keep the leg active, to keep it lifted, then go for it. Breathe here. Awesome. Take a deep inhale. As you exhale, step the right foot forward between the hands and then spin the left heel to the floor. With an inhale, cartwheel the arms up. Find a warrior two. So take a moment to set up your stance and don't worry too much about where the feet are pointing. Front foot mostly to the front, back foot mostly to the side. Find a depth to the front knee bend that feels good in your body, something that feels sustainable as well. And then notice if you have a tendency to stick the bum back in space, find a little hug pubic bone to belly button, and then find a sense of length through the spine. Keep the space across the chest as you reach the arms wide. And gaze can be forward, to the side, even to the back. And you can close down the eyes if you want to challenge the balance. Awesome. When you're ready, lower the right elbow to the right knee, and then with an inhale breath, reach the left arm up and over, extended side angle. Find a stretch from the pinky toe edge of the left foot all the way to the left fingertips. And just like before, if you notice that right shoulder or the left shoulder dipping towards the floor, see if you can keep it nice and spacious for the chest. Left arm stays active. Last few deep breaths here. All right, stay here for a deep inhale. And then as you exhale, lower the left hand down towards the floor, lift the left heel up, and then heel toe right foot to the right a couple inches, reaching the right arm up towards the ceiling the next time you inhale. Finding your lizard twist here. So keep the arms reaching apart from one another as best you can. Keep the back leg active. If you need to lower the knee, then go for it. Last couple deep breaths. And stay here, deep inhale and exhale. Last inhale. And as you exhale, bring the right hand to the floor. Step the left foot forward and we'll find squat pose. So if it feels better to be in a standing squat, then go for it. If it's okay to lower the hips down, maybe to a seat with your blocks. If the heels lift up, that's not a bad thing, but if it feels uncomfortable for you, then take a moment to slide something underneath each one. The hands don't have to leave the floor, but if you're bringing the hands to prayer, then just check in for a moment if the knees are opening or if the elbows are pressing the knees further open than the knees would like to be, then create a little resistance with the knees. That will also help stabilize the pelvis. If the shrug muscles are active, see if you can soften them down here. If you need a little more time in your squat, then stay. And when you're ready, bring the fingertips to the floor, lift the hips up towards the ceiling. And you can heel toe the feet back to that comfortable hip distance. As you dangle here, you can give your torso a sway, some movement for the legs. If you want to explore a bind, you could interlace the hands behind the skull, adding a little weight to the spine. If you have a bind, you can release it with your next inhale, halfway lift. And exhale, sigh, fold. Inhale. And exhale. Last one. Inhale, halfway lift. Pause. Maybe bend the knees a little bit more. Find that length from the tailbone to the crown of the head, and with an inhale breath, come all the way up, maybe circling arms up towards the ceiling, maybe pausing with the arms lifted or lowering the arms whenever you're ready. And eventually meeting in your mountain pose. Steady yourself with your feet. Lengthen the spine, find some length through the back of the neck, maybe a slight tuck of the chin. And take that scan from the feet to the head and just notice what the body is doing here, what the body's feeling. You can keep the eyes closed, maybe taking the feet a little bit wider. Interlace the hands and then reach the arms up towards the ceiling. And take a deep inhale here and arc left as you exhale. Inhale center and to the right. And 2 more each side. Back to center, and with an exhale, we'll hinge forward, forward fold. Halfway lift, lengthen, and plant the palms, step to plank pose. Knees lifted or lowered, legs stay active, hands stay actively pressing down. And find some space for the chest and the shoulders, that length in the spine. Stay for an inhale and an exhale. One more. And then lengthen here. Lower all the way down to the belly. Untuck the toes, press them down. Inhale breath, cobra, lift up. And exhale, soften. And just on the fingertips, inhale. And exhale. Maybe hovering the hands, inhale. And exhale, hands lower, tabletop as you inhale. And downward facing dog as you exhale. And take a moment to find your shape, to settle in the hands and the feet. And then when you're ready, lift the left leg up behind you, 3-legged dog. And again, take a moment to notice the hips here. If that left hip is open to the left, see if you can keep it closed for now. The right leg stays active, hands stay active as well. Breathe here. All right, take an inhale, lift the left heel a little higher. As you exhale, left knee towards the chest. Inhale, leg back, and exhale forward. One more. Inhale, leg extends. Exhale, lower the left knee about halfway up the mat, and then spin the left heel out to the left, kickstand. Right heel drops, left hand comes to center. Line up, left hand, left knee, right foot, and with an inhale, reach the right arm up towards the ceiling. Modified side plank, just take a moment here. If anything needs adjusting, then go for it. Make sure everything feels adequately supported. And then the right foot can stay down if this feels like plenty, or as you inhale, lift it up any amount, and then exhale, lower it down. And then keep going with your breath. Last couple. Final inhale to lift, and with your exhale, lower it down. Now bring the right hand down as well. Walk the hands out in front. Maybe left knee needs to adjust a little to the left. And then setting up here for that awkward balance pose, and take a moment, press the hands down, press the left knee down, lift the right leg out to the right any amount. For balance, maybe left hand goes a little further left. For more challenge, hover it off the floor and reach. Right foot to the right, left arm to the left. Breathe here. All right, left hand comes down, right leg comes down. Maybe point that right knee a little further to the right. And then as you're ready, hip towards the heels, that awkward child's pose. Notice what the right leg needs here. It may even need something a little different to the first side. So maybe the first side it was fine staying with the toe down. Maybe this side the toe wants to lift up. So whatever you need, go for it. Add some support for the forehead as well. Notice if the mind starts to wander, bring it back to the breath. The last few deep breaths here. And when you're ready, lifting yourself back up and coming through a tabletop position, heading towards three-legged dog with the left leg in the air. Maybe it's a three-legged tabletop instead. And this time we'll lift and stack the hip though. You can keep the leg extended or bend the knee or something in between. Notice the hands here, keep them even side to side. All right, stay for one last inhale. As you exhale, step the left foot forward between the hands and spin the right heel to the floor. And cartwheeling the arms up with an inhale breath, and we'll set up Warrior Two. So again, don't worry too much about where the feet are pointing. Find whatever feels the most natural in your body, the most stable for your stance. Arms can reach, shoulders stay soft. Again, check in with the low back. Does it feel like a deep back bend? Find a little hug through the belly. And keep the feet pressing to the floor. And keep the arms reaching apart. All right, stay here. Take a deep inhale. As you exhale, bring the left arm to the left hip. And then inhale, reach the right arm up and over for extended side angle. Find that deep stretch from the pinky toe edge of the right foot to the right fingertips. Notice if that left shoulder feels like it's collapsing, keep that side really active. Last few deep breaths into that stretch. All right, for the transition, take a deep inhale. And then as you exhale, bring the right hand down, lift the right heel up. Left foot to the left a few inches, and then the next time you inhale, unravel the left arm up towards the ceiling. Notice if the right side's collapsing, keep that active, keep the right toes really pressing to the floor. Keep breathing that space across the chest and shoulders. Last few deep breaths here. Last inhale. And lower the left hand as you exhale. And take an inhale here. And step the right foot outside the right hand, and we'll find a squat for the second side. So again, take a moment, find the version of squat that feels best in your body. Maybe with a seat, maybe the hands stay down or the hands lift up. And maybe this side you want to find a stretch for the wrists, so maybe the backs of the hands come together instead. If it feels okay to close down the eyes, go for it. And if for any reason this shape isn't working for you, you can come straight to a forward fold, find a seat, or come to standing. If you need a little more time in the squat, then stay. Otherwise, fingertips find the floor, hips up towards the ceiling, and make your way to a forward fold. Any version of a forward fold, stillness or movement. If you'd like to find a bind, then maybe interlace the hands at the lower back, reach the fist up towards the ceiling. If the arms are lifted, you can bring the hands to the shins and take an inhale breath, halfway lift, and sigh, exhale. And again. Last one. Now bend the knees, bring the hands behind you, lower the bum down to the floor. And then take a moment to extend the legs, give them a swish side to side, a tap of the backs of the knees. And from here, we'll swing the legs around to the long edge of the mat. And we'll set up for a wide-legged forward fold shape. So you can take the legs as far apart as you like. And see whatever feels the most comfortable. I like sitting up off of something here as well. So taking a moment to set up the legs, you might find a slight external rotation as well. I know in my body that feels good, so you might explore that. So you might imagine pointing the toes a little bit behind you and see if that helps settle the hips a little better. And you can stay right here working with a tall spine, or we'll take it towards a fold. So whenever you're ready, take a deep inhale. And as you exhale, you can start to walk the hands forward as you hinge forward any amount. Now listen to your body. It might feel good to come to a halfway lift and lengthen with an inhale, and with an exhale to dip back in. And perhaps choosing stillness or flowing like this with a breath for a few more rounds. Maybe you're pulsing. Whenever you're ready, come and find your stillness in your fold. Mindful that the low back stays quiet. You can always modify the shape by coming to a halfway lift and staying. And breathing into whatever you're feeling here. And only when you're ready with an inhale breath and the support of the hands, lift yourself back up. Now we're going to keep this shape for the legs for a little while longer, but if that doesn't work for you, then maybe you want to choose butterfly instead. Bring the soles of the feet together. And then we're going to explore some side stretches here. So one option is to stay in this plane and side stretch side to side. If it feels okay for your spine to pivot so that you can line up the right side of the body with that right leg, then go for that instead. You can bring the right hand down just in front of the right leg. Take an inhale, reach the left arm up. And as you exhale, you can slide the right hand forward by the leg. As you reach the left arm, imagine that you're reaching almost for the toes, but we'll keep the chest really broad here. Notice if that left side feels like it's lifting at all. See if you can make it as heavy as the right. And then keep breathing that length through the left, from the left hip to the left fingertips. With a strong belly, lift yourself up and just pause here for a moment. And give the shoulders a wiggle, give the spine a little wiggle. Now choose either to stay in this plane to side stretch or turn the chest towards the right, lining up the left side with the left leg, left fingertips to the inside of that leg. Inhale breath, reach the right arm high, and then slide that left hand away as you reach the right arm towards that left foot. And keep the chest nice and broad here, and keep lengthening from the right hip to the right fingertips. With a strong belly, inhale breath, come on up. And give the shoulders a wiggle. Give the spine a little movement. And we'll take a twist here. Inhale breath, circle the arms towards the ceiling, and then twist towards the right, lower the fingertips wherever they land. And then take an inhale breath, reset, lengthen, maybe twist a little deeper. Inhale breath to unravel, reach the arms high, and to the opposite side. Let the hands lower. And take that first breath to set yourself, lengthen the spine, maybe twisting a little deeper. Inhale breath, unravel back to center, maybe a counter twist. Releasing shoulders and spine. And then from here, we'll bring the legs together. Maybe a taps of the knees. It might feel nice to windshield wiper as well. We had them open for quite a while. So take your time, take 5 or 6 breaths, release any way you need. Awesome. And then when you're ready, we'll set up here, bring the feet flat to the floor. You can scoop the flesh of the bum out of the way to better connect the sit bones down. And setting for boat pose, so you can bring the hands to the knees to begin with, and take a moment to lengthen the spine, soften the shrug muscles, and really find that space across the chest. You can stay right here, you can come to tippy toes, you can play with lifting one or both legs up. And then see what you need here. You can stay right here, work with the breath, maybe closing eyes to work with the balance. If you want more challenge, you could explore extending the legs any amount. You could also explore releasing the arms, any combination of these, and breathe into it. Last few deep breaths here. And when you're ready, we'll lower the feet to the floor, bring the chest to the thighs, wrap the arms around the legs, and give yourself a hug and a rock side to side. And when you're ready, coming back up, we'll set the hands just behind the hips. So fingers can point behind you here, out to the side, or towards the feet. So choose whatever feels the most comfortable for today. And you can stay right here with the hips to the floor. Take an inhale breath and puff the chest up any amount. Now stay exactly here, or if you prefer, you can press the feet down, lift the pelvis as well. Reverse tabletop. I'll also demonstrate the reverse plank variation. Either way, lifting the belly button towards the ceiling, keeping the hands and the feet pressed down. Lengthen the spine, whatever feels good for the neck here. Last few deep breaths. When you're ready, lowering the hips back down to the floor. Release the hands for a moment, give them a good shake out, and give the legs a shake out as well. And we'll lower down onto the back, but make sure you have your hard block nearby because it might be handy. And coming down any way you like, you can come down quickly or slowly, just take your time. Awesome. And then once you found your space here, you can have your block just near the right-hand side for if you need it. And then take the hips over to the left and take both your feet towards the bottom right corner, both your arms towards the top right corner until you're in a banana shape, a crescent moon shape. From here, it might feel good to cross the left ankle over the right, maybe the left wrist into right. And if it feels better to bend the elbows for the shoulders, especially, then go for it. And take a moment to notice the left side of the pelvis also. And if it started to lift up off the floor, see if you can keep it nice and heavy. It might help you target that side stretch. And we'll keep the body mostly as it is, but for the transition, you can release the arms, and we'll release the left leg as well. So you can bend the left knee, plant it to the floor, and reach down with the right hand, and then guide the left knee across the body, rolling onto the outer right hip as well. And then your block is nearby. If that works for support for the right knee, you can keep the hand there as well. Left arm might feel nice to reach it out towards the left. If you like to take the gaze down away from the knee as well, maybe head to the right an inch and then lower down towards the left. You can start by unraveling the head back to center and then releasing the left leg, bringing the hips back to midline for a moment, giving yourself a little wiggle here. If the block was helpful, bring it down to the right now. And we'll start off with the side stretch, so you can take the hips over to the right and then both your feet towards the bottom left, both your arms towards the top left, negotiating with whatever you have around you. Maybe right ankle over left, maybe right wrist into left. Always the option to bend the elbows and keep the right side of the pelvis nice and heavy here. Breathe through the whole left-hand side. And you can release the arms first, and then bend the right knee, bring it to the floor. Using the support of the left hand, we'll guide the right knee across the body and over to the left, and rolling to the outside of that left leg. Using the block, maybe the hand for support, right arm can reach towards the right, and maybe take the head to the left and lower the gaze down towards the right. And find your version of the twist, and if for any reason this twist doesn't work for you, choose a different one. Bringing the head back to center as you're ready, and releasing the right leg, and the hips back to midline. And then see what feels good here. Maybe a rock of the feet side to side. Maybe you want a windshield wiper a few rounds. And when you feel ready, you can collect the knees in your chest and give yourself a hug and a squeeze. Maybe lift the forehead towards the knees, rock side to side or in circles. If you'd like happy baby, you can lower the head back down, reach between the knees, catch hold of feet, ankles, or shins, and maybe the feet come like they're standing on the ceiling. Stillness or rock side to side. You can also explore with extending one leg and then rebending to extend the other. If you need a little more time, then stay. Otherwise, when you're ready, you can release your feet to the floor. And then just check in for a moment. If your body's asking for any last quiet shape or movement, feel free to set that up. Otherwise, when you're ready, we'll sit up for Shavasana. So any comfortable symmetrical expression, if this feels good on the back, then great. If you prefer to come to a seated meditation or like a child's pose, then you can choose that. And find whichever expression works best for your arms for right here, so maybe by your side or overhead or on the body. If there's anything you need to adjust in your space, then go for it. And when you're ready, let the body settle. And let the breath release back to its natural inhale and exhale. And let the body get heavy as you surrender to the floor. Gently bring your attention back to the space. Deepen the breath to reawaken the body. And only when you feel ready to move again, give the head a rock side to side. And start to rotate the wrists and the ankles. And if you like a full body stretch, reach the arms up overhead, point the fingers, the toes, wiggle the hips and the shoulders. And then roll off to one side wherever you have the most room. And take a pause with the head resting on the arm. With the support of your hands coming up to find any comfortable seated position. Maybe sitting up off of your prop, maybe cross-legged or something else. And switching to that awkward cross of the legs. And take a moment to settle the hips and lengthen the spine. Taking the last few moments of your practice, check back in and take that scan of the body to see how it's feeling. And notice your headspace as well. And the hands can stay where they've landed or collect at the heart. Maybe above the chin in towards the chest. Thank you for sharing your breath and your practice. Namaste. Thank you for joining me for practice today. And again, my name is Nicholas. If you have any questions, please reach out and enjoy your day, enjoy your week.